Alright, here we go, and without a doubt, people are going to get ticked off for what I'm going to say. You guys got ticked off when I said Alex Myers was wrong. I mean, there's literally people that just put comments like, you guys suck! So today I'm talking about, is fan service bad? Now, before I start, we got to talk about the definition of fan service. Because when I googled it, it was just sexual stuff. Like, mainly revolving around anime of, like, a character wearing a bathing suit or, like, you know, that kind of, like, perverted stuff. But then I messaged some friends on group chats and even on Instagram, to define fan service, because the sexual stuff was not at all what I was thinking about. And pretty much this is all that I was expecting, and some people did mention the perverted stuff a little bit, but mostly just catering to, the audience. And then Phoenix mentioned an interesting one. He talked about the Sonic movie, which I'm also going to mention because that is a pretty good example of, I would say, fan service. So I'm going to give you guys a heads up. There is going to be some spoilers that I'm going to talk about for particular movies. If you somehow have never seen Endgame, the highest grossing movie of all time, spoilers ahead for that if you live under a rock. Because the question is fan service bad? Well, I'm going to give it a yes and a no. Because it depends on how you use it. Because it can be good and it can be bad. If it makes sense with the story, then it's good. If it doesn't make sense with the story, then it's not good. Then you just basically just threw in a scene that was useless. Like when Lando shows up on The Rise of Skywalker, which was mentioned by Simon as well, he just shows up and says hi and then he leaves. Like, that's it. Like, I'm here. Like, okay, hi Lando, you're here to help us? No, okay, thank you for the ship so we can get away. You're not coming with us?
Nope!
Okay, bye. I could have gotten a ship anywhere else. This is Star Wars. But on Endgame has the best examples for good fan service, because at the end, again, spoilers if you somehow haven't seen this movie, so at the end of the movie, everyone teams up to fight Thanos. Everyone that was dead comes back. Doctor Strange makes a bunch of portals and then teleports everyone who's alive again onto the battlefield to fight Thanos along with a few other armies. This makes sense because Doctor Strange knew where everyone was because he did look into the future and all the possibilities. So he knows their location and teleports them into the battlefield. It makes sense. And it also doesn't happen instantaneously. It happens quite a while after they get snapped back, which gave them enough time for preparations. It was good fan service because it made sense.
Avengers! Assemble.
One interesting fan service scene, which I will talk about, is Captain America in the elevator in Endgame, which is when he goes to get Loki's scepter. Now, these SHIELD agents are working for Hydra, which was revealed in Captain America Winter Soldier, and there's another spoiler in case you haven't seen that either somehow. He whispers in the guy's ear, "Hail Hydra," and then is able to get the scepter.
I can't give you the scepter. I'm gonna have to call the director.
That's okay. Trust me. Hail Hydra.
This is actually fan service for a particular comic that's an alternate universe where Captain America was revealed that he was working for Hydra the whole time. It was me the whole time. So it works perfectly. Like, it's a perfect scene for fan service. Now, before I get into one that's really going to tick everyone off that I'm going to say is bad fan service, I'm going to talk about the Sonic thing real quick because it's actually a pretty interesting thought that I had about it. So when Sonic got redesigned from the horrible thing that he was, that it started out to be, and then they had to change that, they were going for a more realistic look, but I don't see anyone making Sonic look realistic unless you had an actual hedgehog. But then people did their own, like, fan drawing and then fan CG models of Sonic, which they're not that good, people. They're not even any better than the original one that they had before. Like, I don't care what people say. All they did was copy and paste the video game and put it in the movie. Like, that's it. It really doesn't look any better. And then the motion looked off, and then even the model didn't look right in the scene either. The actual model they had in the final results when they redesigned Sonic looked great, and it worked. The fan ones don't look that good because it's just pure fan service. My whole point is that there's original fan service and unoriginal fan service. The studio made an original fan service, like a design for Sonic, because they took different designs from the past and made their own thing. So this design of Sonic stands out because it's different than all the other ones, so that's what makes it stand out so much.
Ow!
No!
The fans did a terrible job making their own versions of Sonic for the movie because all they did was just take the design from one of the games and that was it. It was unoriginal fan service. Instead of making something original out of the design, they just copied whatever game they wanted to copy. If they like the 2000 version of Sonic, they'll just put that. If they like the original version of Sonic, then they'll put that. There was no originality whatsoever with these fan designs. So the fans completely failed at redesigning Sonic when the studio succeeded because they did their own thing. And if the fans are hurt by that, look, if we're going to critique the movie this hard, I'm going to critique your design just as hard as we critiqued the original Sonic design. So I'm going to critique the fans just as much as I critique the people that make the movies. So I'm not going to give you a pass just because you're a fan that did it on one computer and you only did it by yourself. If you're going to try to say that your design's better, I'm going to hold you up to the same standards and I'm going to judge you by the same standards. So no, I'm not giving you a pass. But now we're going to talk about bad fan service. And yeah, it is kind of a spoiler, but it's not too much of a spoiler story-wise, but actually, yeah, it is kind of a spoiler. We're going to talk about RWBY.
Oh, give me a big fat break!
Alright, so if you don't know what RWBY is, it's actually a show made by Rooster Teeth, which are on YouTube. They released the show on YouTube. It was created by Monty who sadly passed away before the third season had finished. Now, the show has kept going for quite a few years now. And yeah, there's a fan service thing in this show that honestly really ticked me off. Now, there have been fan service in this show before, even recently in the most recent season that came out. There's a new season coming up though. I don't know if this video will come out before that new season comes out. So to start, there is this couple, which was Blake and Sun. Ever since the beginning of the series, from season 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, they were together. They even had like season 4 and 5, like just them two were together the whole time. Like they're all lovey-dovey together, just them two. The rest of the team was like somewhere else. They just had their moments together. It was super nice. It was good character development for both of them and their relationship. It did challenge their relationship. It built their relationship. And they had great chemistry together. Blake is more of an introvert. Sun is more of an extrovert. It was a good, like, opposites attract kind of thing.
I like him.
Mom!
Overall, they were a great couple in the show, and I loved it. There were so many cosplays of it, people loved it. But you know, in every single show, they're going to ship characters together. And they shipped Blake and Yang together, and they called it Bumblebee. Now, when they did this, there's just people, like fans, just making their own little thing, you know. People do this all the time. Nothing new, really. People do this all the time. People do it with My Hero Academia. Speaking of that, please stop shipping Uchako and Bakugo. I absolutely hate that. You're probably wondering where I'm going with this because in the show they actually made Blake and Yang canon. They made Bumblebee canon. They held hands and then they said we confirmed that they're together. And yeah, that's a great example of really bad fan service. Now, people try to give a defense that, oh, Yang was always flirting with Blake even on season 1. No, she wasn't. No one thought that when they saw it, because it wasn't flirting. She was just being socially awkward because Blake is hard to talk to in the show, because she's more introverted. She didn't really want to talk to them. She's kept to herself. So Yang did this little awkward thing where she was trying to start a conversation.
So, what's your name?
Blake.
Well, Blake, I'm Yang, Ruby's older sister. I like your bow.
Thanks.
It goes great with your pajamas.
Right.
Nice night, don't you think?
Yes, it's lovely. Almost as lovely as this book that I will continue to read as soon as you leave.
Yeah, this girl's a lost cause.
Everyone has done this with somebody, and it doesn't have to be someone that we like. Just trying to be friendly, trying to be a friend, we've all done this. This is not a flirting scene, but everyone kept making it out to be that after they confirmed Bumblebee. And they kept developing this relationship between Blake and Sun, and they just threw it out the window. Sun's not even in the show anymore. Like, Sun left for some reason. He left to go with his friends, which I don't know why he left. That didn't make any sense either. Like, he stuck with Blake on all these adventures, then like, oh, I'm gonna go now, you have your team. Okay, bye. Like, what the heck? Like, what?
I have no idea!
Like, they threw all that character development out the window just for fan service. That is bad fan service. Like, really bad. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the show, but this particular part of the show, I didn't like. It's bad writing. It's bad writing because there was never indication that Yang and Blake were even ever into each other. In fact, there's no indication that even Blake was into girls or Yang was into girls. Yang showed to be into guys in the very first season, so that's why it's bad writing.
It's like a big slumber party.
I don't think Dad would approve of all the boys, though.
I know I do.
And if you're going to give it the argument that it's because they changed over time, it's still bad writing because they never showed that they changed over time. There was never any indication that they changed over time in this particular thing of being into girls or guys, or even an indication that Yang and Blake even liked each other in the first place. There was never even an indication that Blake never liked Sun. It's always been shown that Blake's liked Sun. From the first moment they met, it's always been shown that Blake was into Sun. You can't give the argument that they changed over time because that was never even written to the show. So it's bad writing because it's an out-of-nowhere scene for Blake and Yang to be together. It's also bad writing when you have Blake and Sun, who have been together the entire time, just suddenly not be together all of a sudden. They never show an indication that they break up or anything. And I'm especially curious at what's going to happen if Sun ever comes back on the show when he sees that Blake and Yang are together. Well, how is he going to react? I assume he's going to be angry because he left Blake and they were together since they left. Blake even kissed Sun. So, like, where did this Blake and Yang thing come from? It came from nothing. It's just fan service. Endgame, it did come from something, because it made sense with the story and the characters. Blake and Yang doesn't make sense with the story or the characters. That's why it is bad fan service. I know I'm ranting a little bit, but this is the best example I can give of bad fan service because it doesn't make sense. So fan service is basically giving the fans what they wanted, but when you just give the fans what they want without it making sense with the story, then all it becomes is the fans say, give me this and we'll be happy. Like, if any company does this, or any writer, director, any filmmaker that does this, all they're doing is giving the fans what they want, and that just makes the fans look like a bunch of spoiled brats.
You're right. It was lame. Gift shop was cool, though.